Yeah, well, I'm going to say the most important events 2025 are around different areas on the geopolitical and war area. We have the Russia and Ukraine war that is still ongoing, for its fourth year, and we have the Gaza war, that happened. Very intense combats and humanitarian catastrophe that we've noticed. And there are a variety of countries that are facing internal crises and some facing coup. Well, especially in Africa, on the continent, we've witnessed Nepal's protest-driven ouster of Prime Minister, Sharma, and ongoing instability in various places. Think about Haiti, think about Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, and some in Bangladesh as well. As to the U.S. and the Trump presidency, we know that Donald Trump took over the country in this year for his second term as the president of the United States. And as soon as he took over, he started reshaping U.S. and global politics with a very strong American-centered government, our governing agenda, and a lot of expansive executive powers that are affecting decisions, particularly on immigration, and then some of the climate change regulation that he rolled back. On the tariff front, the U.S. is witnessing one of the most, strong tariff policy and enforcement never seen in the past. And tariff is becoming the centerpiece of the U.S. economic strategy, and we've seen that U.S. has been, giving a lot of thought into using tariff as a means to generate revenues and then to force industries to move over from China to the United States. And it's been using those strategies. Some of them effectively, especially the big companies. They have decided, they've pledged. Many of them have pledged to invest more in the U.S. But it remains to be seen if that's going to happen in terms of total transfer of those companies in the U.S. Given the fact that it's very complicated to change the different strategies that so many companies have put in place for years that has been generating good revenue for them. And we know the market in the U.S. is kind of very expensive, very difficult, but some of them are pledged to do that. So we see how it turns out. On the global economy and the markets, we've seen global growth decelerate modestly, but remaining in the positive zone. The International Monetary Fund is projecting a growth of 3% around the world in 2025. And hopefully, we still have to see what's going to happen in 2026. We're going to talk about it in terms of projections. The U.S. economy has grown roughly about 2%, in 2025, and there was a lot of volatility that we've noticed, in the U.S. economy, and the equity market in U.S. and Europe, as well as India and Japan, were at their all-time high, reflecting the enthusiasm that people have been seeing, that's generated by AI, artificial intelligence, and the wide use of artificial intelligence in the creation of data centers around the world to make it more effective, And so on the climate and society front, we've got some issues including catastrophic floods in the, storms and things like that in the U.S. and other countries. Not forgetting the wildfires that have been, causing a lot of havoc in many communities in the U.S. around the world as well. And so those are the few main issues that I've noticed and that have been affecting the world. But in Africa, we can't talk about this without talking about what happened in Africa. We've seen so many coup d'etat in Africa, three or maybe four, Madagascar, in Guinea-Bissau, in Benin recently, and other countries. We also talk about a constitutional coup. We don't just talk about military coup, but there are also constitutional coup that are happening in many countries like Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Togo, and so on. So those are the things that are happening in the world, and we hope that things don't get worse in 2026. And so hopefully people come to their senses and they realize that we are all in this one world. We need to work together to make sure that this world works for us, works for everybody. Because if something happens that is bad in the United States, you can feel it in India. If something happens bad in South Africa, you can feel it in Norway, in any part of the world. So the world is interconnected in a way that never been before. So thank you so much.